Emerald Downs Weekly right here on NBC Sports Northwest. Joe Withey, Gary Doherty, and track president Phil Ziegler. Thanks for joining us. Emerald Downs with a couple of weekends in the books and a pretty big weekend upon us, fellas. Gary, promotions.
Yeah, 145th Kentucky Derby. Live simulcast right here on the big screen. Wear a fancy hat. Come on out. Get in for free. Right, Phil? Any kind of men's or women's fancy hat, you get in for free.
Yeah, and we have a great contest, as always. And that's not just for ladies' hats. We got one for guys. We have one for couples, right? We have one for kids.
Yes.
Yes.
Come up to track level, sign in. We'll take some pictures, and we'll have some judges judge the best. You come back to the winner's circle, get a $50 gift card here at Emerald Downs, and also get a picture in the Red Hook winner's circle.
Right on. Yeah, the Truly Fabulous Hat Contest is a great tradition on Derby Day, and we see men and women dress up, a lot of decorative hats, as Gary mentioned. Sign up to be eligible to win some prizes. Have a great Derby Day. Gates open early on Derby Day, 7:30 a.m. Churchill Downs Racing begins, I believe, at 8 a.m. our time. So a fantastic card, and we're going to start at 2 p.m.
Yeah, it's the one day that it kind of brings back when you see, old pictures of racetracks from like the 50s and 60s, and you see how people get dressed up to go to the races. It's the one day a year where pretty much everyone that comes on Derby Day gets dressed up. To see all the young folks wearing their outfits and their hats and their suits, and it is kind of a neat sight.
I'm going to wear a tie that day.
Yeah, so am I.
Are you?
Yeah,
really?
Maybe.
Okay.
No.
I don't know.
I could try it off.
Kentucky Derby Day Saturday. That's our next day of live racing. We'll race Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. this weekend. And the following week, we have more in store. Much more about the Derby, by the way. But the following week, we're going to go to the 3-day week, Gary.
That's right. The first Fab Friday, May 10th, we'll have come on out, get a free T-shirt. First 5,000, wear it back the rest of the season, get it for free. Live music, $1,000 horseshoe toss. And also, Phil, the day after the Derby, we'll have Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo is going to be a lot of fun. Dancing horses and food and mariachi band and all kinds of great. And the weather's supposed to be just perfect for this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Two great events, Derby Day and Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, those dancing horses are fantastic. That is going to start around noon, is it?
Yeah, 12:30.
12:30?
The big performance is at 12:30. So
outstanding.
And here's the shirt.
For Fab Friday.
Fab Friday shirt with all the hashtags on it.
Friday, May 10th.
Yes.
First Fab Friday.
Free.
First race at 6:30. And we're going to start, giving away the shirts at 4 p.m.?
4 p.m. And once you get your T-shirt, you can come in and have a $3 Bud or Bud Light.
Horseshoe toss starts Friday night.
Yeah, we've got $1,000 up for grabs. And we'll get 3 lucky contestants. Come on out and throw the horseshoe and see if somebody can throw a ringer or maybe even a leaner.
Okay. So, Kentucky Derby, Cinco de Mayo this week, first Fab Friday, and Mother's Day weekend the following week. Looking back to our 2-day race week, last Saturday and Sunday, we had some great action at Emerald Downs. Let's take a look at some of it. Let's go right to that second race on Saturday. We had a little bit of an upset. That was the theme last week.
Ziggy Cardust at the inside. I Came to Play is in pursuit. Look at My Star on the outside next. Late surge from another Jim, but in deep stretch. Ziggy Cardust has found another gear in the final 70 yards. Ziggy Cardust and Gary Wells on to win it by 3.5.
Ziggy Cardust, trained by Neil Knapp, started a consecutive run of Portland Meadows shippers that paid big prices to win, and in exotics. Ziggy Cardust first, and fellas, that was 12-1 in a maiden race. Let's just go right on to the third race. We can watch that, and this was another upset winner at Emerald Downs. Stay in Grace, who got off to a great start in her career, hadn't done much at Emerald Downs. Well, she hadn't raced much here, but here's a winner at 34-1, fellas. Look at that, an easy victory. That's wow. Jose Zanino aboard for Linda Northam. There's the payoff board. Superfecta, everything.
Look at that
big.
Second place horse at 21-1. That's a tough exacta.
Bye Sal, also in from Portland. Yeah, that is a huge exacta, $275 for $1. Then the theme continued Saturday in the fourth race. long shot, up from Portland Meadows. Very competitive finish here, but getting the victory on the outside, number 5, Rocks the Fox, running at Emerald Downs for the first time, was 18-1. Kevin Orozco aboard for Valentin Garcia, and a bit of a price in second. So we had, there's another huge superfecta. Pick 3 paid a whole bunch as well. So Portland Shippers.
Yeah, amazing. Those last 2 races we saw, those horses were the longest shot on the board in both races. And I don't know if that's ever been done before in Emerald Downs. In fact, having 3 straight horses over 10-1 win doesn't happen too often here.
That's right.
Nope.
We already have 6 of those at the meeting. Actually, the longest shot on the board, that happened the next day, too. We're going to get to that.
Yes.
I learned how to wear a dark color after sitting next to Gary for a couple
I
hours.
should have been sitting in the middle today.
Makes you look a little thinner. Phil doesn't need to wear a dark color. He goes to the gym every day.
Sure.
Every day?
Gary goes to the gym a lot, too, but he still needs to wear a dark color. Okay, let's get to the feature race on Saturday. Fillies and mares in a sprint, and it was a strong field. I know I picked McDove on this show last week. I don't remember if you guys went to that race or not. But anyway, let's hear Tom Harris call the finish of Saturday's feature.
Don't Kiss and Tell to take them to the final furlong. On the outside is McDove chasing, and Jerry to carry third. On the outside, Gazing late into fourth, but it's all Don't Kiss and Tell. And Don't Kiss and Tell runs clear to win it by 5.
Don't Kiss and Tell, owned by Darlene and Carl Craig. She was an outstanding 3-year-old filly last year. And by the way, that's Ryan Barber aboard. His first win since he's one of our new jockeys this year. Tom Wenzel, the trainer. Don't Kiss and Tell took advantage of our new Washington Cup system, Phil, last summer when she ran in both the 3-year-old Washington Cup race and the older filly and mare race and won one of them.
That's right.
Second in the other.
Yes, and just all those long shots, and we're going to see more of them coming up here after the break, huh?
All right. It's coming up on Derby Day at Emerald Downs. We're going to have more Kentucky Derby talk. Thanks for joining us. Much more to come here on Emerald Downs Weekly.
I think you made a good pick on Sunday, Joe. We're going to find out about that, huh?
Tom, you could sure tell Tom was in on that horse, too.
Yes, you can.
Robert, you used to be able to tell him a little bit, too, when he picked a good winner. He'd get a little more pep in the voice. Thanks for joining us on Emerald Downs Weekly. Joe Whippy, Gary Doherty, and Phil Ziegler. We're going to be talking some Kentucky Derby stuff. Who's your pick in the Derby? We have some news as well, as we do know that the favorite, Omaha Beach, is now out, Gary.
Yep, it came out this morning. He had an entrap epilogus, which is a thing in your neck where you swallow your tongue, I believe, and it makes it tough to breathe, and they probably have to do some surgery. So, morning line favorite, right, Phil? Out for the Derby.
I wasn't going to play him, so that's actually...
You didn't have him in your ticket. I had to make an adjustment on mine. But so, Omaha Beach out of the Kentucky Derby. That is some big news. Richard Mandela looking for his first Derby. And Mike Smith, of course, chose Omaha Beach over Roadster. Roadster, the Bob Baffert trainee, who's 2 for 2 this year. More on the Derby upcoming. Let's get back to Emerald Downs. A lot of excitement on Saturday, and we had a pick 5 carryover of $8,600, and that always just jumps up the interest in handicapping.
I played
at any track. Yeah, so did I. And nice big pool on Sunday's pick 5. Let's get to some of the races Sunday. The first race, the Portland Meadows Shipper long shot theme continued. Here's Bobby Magic, who had only had one start earlier this year at Portland and had never run at Emerald Downs. He wins easily at almost 9-1 for trainer Darlene Braden. George Carino aboard. That was a 6-horse field, and he still paid almost $20 to win. So
Darlene Braden's first win as a trainer here at Emerald Downs.
Congratulations to her.
Fantastic.
And let's go on to the second race on Sunday. This was a maiden race for 3-year-old fillies. We had 4 first-time starters in the field of 7. Again, a 7-horse field, and John Parker's firster, Timberlake Gauge, trained by Candy Kreiderman, ridden by Juan Gutierrez. Goes wire to wire in there. So there is Juan with his first win since coming back. Of course, he took all of last year off.
Yep.
But it was a good year for him, 2018, because he entered the Washington Thoroughbred Hall of Fame as a jockey. And
Sean Parker paid $22, Phil.
I know. You don't see that too often. No.
Yeah, that was a great debut for that. That's a son of Primal, or daughter of Primal Instinct, who's a Giants Causeway stallion. Led all the way there in the second. Let's go on to the fifth race, another maiden race on Sunday at Emerald Downs. And this one looked really competitive on paper. Let's hear from Tom Harris.
200 yards for home, and the long shot Lansky is opened up here at 31-1. Here comes Tismani with a late charge, and to the finish, it's Lansky to put him away in a shocker.
Lansky, who ran one time last year, had a couple good workouts coming in for trainer Kate Cooper. There is Heribert Eddie Martinez aboard. This is a son of Attaboy Roy and Peaceful Wings. There's Attaboy Roy there at Pabst Blue Ribbon Farm. But Peaceful Wings, there she is with one of her foals. This is a tremendous story. She's had 14 different horses to win at Emerald Downs. Peaceful Wings, a daughter of Halo, purchased by Rick and Debbie Pabst at a Keeneland auction. Debbie always wanted a daughter of Halo as a broodmare. There's the names. Jade Green was her first foal. He was a stakes winner. And Peaceful Rain, a stakes winner. Of course, Jabrika, a great horse in Emerald Downs history. Me Boss Man won the Derby. He finally beat both Nusito and Del Rio Harbor in the same race.
Amazing list there, Joe.
14 different horses from one dam winning, and she had 15 overall. Unfortunately, Peaceful Wings did pass away last fall, but what a home she had at the Pabst Farm. Lived to the age, she was born in 92, so she was 26, and she was a smallish mare herself, and Debbie, had mentioned that so many of her foals were smaller. And if you saw Lansky battling it out with Battle Point Red on Sunday, he was way smaller than Battle Point Red, but they can move their feet and legs, those Peaceful Wings babies.
And this one, Joe, you picked it. Tom Harris picked it. The horse goes up at 31-1, longest shot in the board. The horse you run second was the second longest shot in the board.
Go ahead. I think we should just be quiet and let Joe gloat for a few seconds.
Yes.
Well, so Peaceful Wings, I'm very aware of her prowess, right?
Yep.
So I noticed that. I like second-time starters, even if it was last year. He had a couple nice workouts, and let's take a shot.
That was the first leg of the pick five.
It was. I was live after one leg.
And you were the handicapper in the program. When you get the program here at the track, there's the program picks. And Joe was picking for the program and, of course, doing Handicapper's Corner. And in the program, it said right there, selections number 2. Anybody that just came to the track and looked at that and said, no, let's just bet that one.
Yeah, and
that's a great pick.
Well, thank you. Tom was on it, too. I think you could tell from Tom's call a little bit that he was involved. But a great list. Let's go on to race number 6 on Sunday as well. This is another K. Cooper trainee, and like Lansky, the longest shot on the board, Gary.
Yep.
Fortune's Freude.
Back-to-back races.
Yeah, she was a non-winner as a 2 there in a tough race as she edged out Spot On. So K. Cooper runners finished first and second. And there's Kevin Orozco up on Fortune's Freude, bred by Rick and Debbie Pabst.
We had, I think, 60,000 bet in the pick 5, and I was 0 for 2.
Okay. We're going to talk about we got to do the feature. Let's go to the feature race and hear Tom Harris's call.
Capital Expense fights on at the inside. Middle of the racetrack, a white sports coat is rolling. Here comes a white sports coat on the attack. The line fast approaching. A white sports coat just in time.
A white sports coat, the 5-2 favorite, Emerald Downs debut, up from California. 5-year-old son of Hanson, owned by Peter Redekop, who likes to name his horses starting with an A, we found out. Blaine Wright, the trainer, and Kevin Orozco aboard. Of course, Blaine had just won the Lost in the Fog and at Golden Gate the day before with Any Port in a Storm. So congratulations, Blaine scores. And here is the finish of the 9th. Call this race at the finish, or at the wire, why don't you?
4. We're rooting for the 4 for a big carryover in the pick 5.
The 4 is, a first-time starter.
Oh, that's close.
And you picked that horse on the finish line, Phil, the 5?
Yeah, I knew it was really close.
Jeez.
Really, really close. But
I thought the 4 won, as did Gary, when we watched it in fast motion. But no, you got to rely on the photo finish camera, and there it is. It's about a 2-inch victory for Doctari under Juan Gutierrez. Juan with the double. Candy Kreiderman also with a double. And John Parker, the owner of Doctari, a maiden race, son of Preaching at the Bar, edged out first-time starter Mutt. So we don't have a pick 5 carryover, but the 2 people that had $29,739 in the pick 5 payoff were happy with the result, very much so.
That's a good photo for them.
And John Parker, how about him? 3-time defending owner leader at Emerald Downs, has the most wins, the most earnings, and the most starters.
That's
He's
a pretty good start of the season, yes.
John Parker, great start to the season, won a couple on Sunday, looking for his 4th consecutive owner's title. And we're going to take a break, come back, much more to talk about thoroughbred racing on Emerald Downs Weekly.
I wonder if John's watching the show. If he is, it's John Parker. That's how you say his
He's
name.
on pace for 67 wins.
Everybody yells at him, John Parker!
John Parker.
John Parker! Right?
He loves it. Emerald Downs Weekly, talking Kentucky Derby, Emerald Downs, thoroughbred racing, and even more. And once again, May 4th is Derby Day. That's this Saturday. Gates open early at Emerald Downs. You can get in here by 7:30 a.m. Our first race at 2 p.m. The Kentucky Derby, a little before 4 p.m.
3:50 our time.
Okay.
This is post time.
They keep pushing the back. Pretty soon it's going to be around 6 p.m. our time. They keep running more races.
Why do they do that?
They have
Sure.
lights now, so they can
Lights
go
and
after dark.
money.
The Kentucky Derby, wow. Handicappers love it because the payoffs are fantastic. In fact, the last 6 years, the favorite has won the race, and the average superfecta payoff the last 6 years, the average with all those favorites on top.
For a buck?
Yeah, for $1 is over $22,000, the average, with the favorite on top.
Wow.
So, yeah, 20 horse fields, and that's a stat in itself. How can the favorite win 6 years in a row when there's 19 horses to beat? That's to me, that's a statistical anomaly. Okay, Kentucky Derby history. Phil, when you think Kentucky Derby, what's your most memorable?
I'm going to go back to 1980 when the filly Genuine Risk became the first filly to win the Kentucky Derby since Regret in 1915. Not too many fillies tried. I actually saw Genuine Risk run in person the following Memorial Day at Belmont Park in an allowance race on the turf, and I just was in awe just seeing her in the paddock. And at that time, she almost won the Triple Crown.
She ran second.
She was interfered with in the Preakness and got a really bad break, and then ran second in the Belmont as well, a couple of lengths away from winning the Triple Crown.
That's
Amazing
right.
horse.
Temperance Hill and the muddy Belmont. What a run by Genuine Risk. Gary, how about you?
Oh, I went to 2003. I was handicapping for the Seattle Times. I gave out an exact funny side over Empire Maker. And funny side got first run at Empire Maker and got to the wire first at 12-1. So that was pretty cool. I hadn't had a winner in the paper when I started in 96, so that was a fun race to win. Jose Santos, the winning jockey that year.
Bred in what state?
He was bred in New York, and he was a gelding, and the owners who drove around in school buses to the different races paid $22,000 for funny side. And he raced to age 7 or 8.
He did well. I could hear Tom Durkin now. The gutsy gelding, funny side, right?
Side.
Yes, he called the gutsy gelding.
I don't like remembering that year because with me that year, I told everybody that day or the day before, or the morning of, well, it's either funny side or Brancusi. So my major win bet was on Brancusi, and he finished last.
Last of 20.
Yeah. Okay, for me, I started following racing in the early 70s, and Secretariat was, of course, fantastic. He had lost the Wood Memorial, his race before the Kentucky Derby, but he came through on Derby Day, won the Triple Crown. Then later in the 70s, that horse named Seattle Slew, Karen and Mickey Taylor, principal owners. He was undefeated. He actually had a poor start in the Derby with his front-running style, but he was such a competitor and bulldog. He bulled right through the field the first time around, and as you can see, he goes on to win the Kentucky Derby, becoming the first undefeated Triple Crown winner a few weeks later when he won the Belmont. Nobody'd gone through the Triple Crown undefeated, and he was the
first. And then you got to see him at Longacres, right?
In 1978, the next year.
Yeah.
He appeared at Longacres, and of course, one of the greats of all time, and his breeding prowess, wow, it just never stops with Seattle Slew's bloodlines. So that was fun for us locally to have Seattle Slew win. How about the point system on the Triple Crown as opposed to the stakes
First money
earnings?
Yeah, great.
What do you guys think on that? You think
Gary?
the system's working?
Well, I think so for the most part. I like the inclusion of horses from all around the world. We're getting a horse from Japan this year. It makes it, this is the biggest and the most important race in the world. And so to have horses come from around the different regions of the world is cool. And the point system, only problem is Churchill Downs is a company. They own certain racetracks, so they sometimes can pick and choose what tracks they think should get the points. And I might leave out some long traditional Derby preps that are not owned by Churchill Downs that might get left out, which is somewhat unfair when it should be open to the whole country.
One thing about the points, I think, is it's getting the horses maybe to run a little bit more in the calendar year leading up to the Derby. If you win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile with the graded stakes earnings, you're basically in.
True.
And there's a lot of changes from the fall of your 2-year-old year to May of your 3-year-old year. So I think horses might run a little bit more for placement to get in the Derby.
It does seem more fair because everybody knows what the system is and what the points each race is worth.
Right.
But I have to think back to like a horse like Mine That Bird who gets in because he won some graded Canadian stakes races as a 2-year-old and gets into the Derby and then wins at 50-1. So maybe you won't have those crazy long shots finding their way in with this system. But it is, to be fair, it's a better system.
Okay. And then how about the last 5 years or so, we've had a couple of Triple Crown winners. Is the Kentucky Derby more or less popular now that the Triple Crown has been won, Phil?
It seems like there isn't as much hype, especially after last year. But I think that's more for the Triple Crown. Maybe the Preakness and Belmont get hurt worse. But for the Derby itself, I think people still love coming out for Derby Day, but I do think it's taken away from maybe the entire Triple Crown process.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. I think the horse players, the wagerers, the bettors, the everyday people love the Kentucky Derby because of the payoff opportunities. And I also think, we're going to get so many once-a-year fans on Derby Day that still come every year. It's Kentucky Derby Day, Gary.
It's a party. It's a lot more than just a horse race. There's parties all week leading up that day. For Kentucky, it's their biggest day by far. It's been that way back to the 1870s. It's a monster day, and I don't think having these Triple Crown winners hurts the sport. Phil's from New York. The Belmont, people love the Belmont. It's tradition. A horse is trying to win all 3 races, of course, and get another 30 or 40,000. But these races have been around for so long, and this is our sport's 3 biggest days, the Triple Crown.
Okay. Maybe the mainstream media might, look at it. I think that's why you pose that question, that mainstream media might think just a little less of it because, finally the Triple Crown's been done.
Twice, the last few years.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to take a look at some possible wagers for the Derby, so certainly pay attention to that coming up here on Emerald Downs Weekly.
Fun.
Make
Gary's
money.
been handicapping.
Easy money.
Emerald Downs Weekly, Joe Withy, Gary Doherty, Phil Ziegler.
You're Joe Withy, I think.
And Gary wants to go over that the Omaha Beach situation again. Was news on Wednesday when he was scratched, the morning line favorite for the Kentucky Derby. Ouch. Mike Smith chose him to ride for Richard Mandela. Yeah, and what was the reason for that, Gary?
Entrapped epiglottis.
Hey, you got it right.
Mm-hmm.
In the throat, in the neck area.
Didn't one of our real fast horses here, the Lucarelli trained, happen to entrap epiglottis? The really fast sprinter he had that ran in the Walbred Stakes race. Remember that horse? Then he had a...
Isn't that the excuse that you used for not showing up for work one day last year?
That's not coming to me right now, but we'll think of it during a break.
Yeah.
Okay, so Omaha Beach is out, but there wasn't also eligible who's going to get in. So we're still going to have a field of 20. And hey, how about some prospective wagers? Mythical $50, and we're allowed to wager those if we wish. And by the way, the Oaks Derby Double is a nice wager with a big pool. Of course, the Kentucky Oaks on Friday, and this year a local angle, Gary.
Yeah, look at the PPs, and you see EMD, right, Phil?
Yes, that's amazing.
Motion in Motion, Dr. Mark Dominical's horse, trained by Tom Van Berg, drew post number 8 for the Oaks, which will be run Seattle time here at Emerald Downs at 6:12.
The wheels are turning.
3:12. 3:12 here in Seattle.
Very good. Okay, Motion to Motion began her career at Emerald Downs last summer, ran 4th. She's become an outstanding 3-year-old filly with 2 wins and 2 stakes placings at Oaklawn. Mike Smith's going to ride. Motion Emotion for Dr. DiDomenico. Wow, big stuff. So the Oaks Derby Double, of course, you got a wager on that on Friday. And there is Derby Day card wagering on Friday as well. So let's talk about some prospective wagers. I'll start first. Okay, we got $50 to spend. I'm going to take Roadster and box him with 6 horses. I'm also going to bet a little bit to win on Roadster. And I have a long shot wager as well. So $11 to win on Roadster. High Call, what's he going to be? About 30 to 1. I'm going to have 5 across on him. And then I'm boxing Roadster with Tax, Improbable, Maximum Security, Tacitus, High Call, and Game Winner. Gary, that's $50.
I like it. You got different routes during the race.
Couple chances to win, yeah.
High Cal, ridden by Rajiv Maral.
Yep.
He'll be, 25, 30 lengths behind on the backside?
He'll be way back. He'll be flying on that turn, as will Roadster.
It could
Watch
be
the blur
It could
on
be
those
sloppy, too.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that.
Slop, mud.
What about your ticket, Gary?
Well, being the trifecta king around here, off to a little slow start, we're going to bet a trifecta. And key the 8-horse, Tacitus, on top to 10 horses. That would have been 10 times 9. That would have been a $45 bet for 50 cents. But one of the horse scratched, Omaha Beach, so now it's 9 times 8, $36 bet. Phil, that leaves me $14 for a couple cocktails.
Always save money for that. Okay,
Exactly.
Phil?
I thought this was how you would spend $50. Not
Yeah, he doesn't follow directions all that well.
You need to get a drink when you're,
really.
Yeah.
It's mythical money. You won't even spend it. That's really bad, Gary.
How's that going to taste?
Oh my!
Mythical drink.
Well, I'm going to spend all $50 here.
Okay.
In my 50-cent try box and $1 exacta box, I'm taking the 3 Bob Baffert horses and throwing in a couple of long shots, but those long shots are trained by Shug McGahee and Todd Pletcher, so I'm in pretty good hands with the 5, 13, 16, 17, and 19. I think it's going to be a big payout. Wide open race now, especially with that scratch. So
how many Baffert horses are you using?
3 of them.
3 of them.
Are there any more
Improbable, Game Winner, and my pick, Roadster.
Roadster.
Yeah. So there's
That's
Phil's.
$50.
And Phil, you didn't have to make any adjustments after Omaha Beach was scratched.
No, that actually hurts my bet a little bit because I thought
does.
that they would beat him. So, yeah.
The average exacta the last 6 years with the favorite winning. Gary, what do you think? That's a tough question.
For $1 or $2?
$1.
For $1, I'll say $40.
Okay. That's a little low. 187 for $1.
For $1?
That's the average payoff.
Oh,
the
terrible.
last 6 years.
Yes.
We've had a couple long shots run second.
That's true.
Big fields. Okay, so we're spending $50 that way, and Gary is spending 36, but that's how he works. How about your Kentucky Derby long shot? Okay, mine was displayed in my wager. I think High Call is going to be flying. I know Tacitus beat him in the Wood, and when he did win in New York, it was a really hot pace in front of him, but he's a pretty good horse, up and down. He's half the dam has already produced another stakes winner, Tacaful, bred to get the distance. So that's my long shot play, and I think he's going to be 25, 30 to 1. Here's a long shot for you, Gary.
The horse that ran against Tacitus, a horse called Win, Win, Win. Michael Trombetta trained. Julian Pimentel's up. I was reading some information on the web this morning, and they said this horse could be a live long shot. Morning line, 15 to 1. Shipping in after running second and then in the bluegrass.
Another horse that has no problem passing horses in big fields. He's done it. So, yeah, that horse certainly live.
Win, win, win.
Okay, that has the right name. Phil?
Well, I'll use one of the horses I used in my boxes.
Sure.
I'll take
I hope so.
number 19 Spinoff, who's a 30-1 morning line horse. Just ran a really nice race in the Louisiana Derby, finishing second. Post 10, bumped at the break 4 wide, led actually in the stretch, and that was his first time. Well, actually, he ran in the Saratoga Special last year, so only 4 starts, making his 5th start, and as good as anyone.
Okay, so 3 different long shot angles. There's plenty of them in the Kentucky Derby. My best monetary Kentucky Derby is when I actually bet the wrong horse. I wanted to bet Casual Lies with a bunch of horses in the exacta. I got up to the press box, looked at my tickets. Oh, shoot, I wanted Pine Bluff boxed with Casual Lies, and I had Lily T instead. I was one off in my numbers, and it was getting too late, and okay, I'll eat it. And Lily T wins at a big price. Casual Lies is second, and I cashed pretty darn well that day. That was a big exacta.
Yeah, it'd be the early 90s.
1992.
Yep.
Okay, so we're looking to cash in the Kentucky Derby. The payoffs can be really, really juicy. Justify won the race last year as the favorite. The Superfecta for $1 paid over $19,000. Wow. We'll be right back on Emerald Downs Weekly.
There's our picture of the week.
Yeah, last year's hat contest winners.
Yep.
That's indication of what you need to do to win the hat contest right there.
Got to be
Whole
dapper.
ensemble. Yes.
Thanks for helping Gary out on that picture, Phil.
Yes.
Maybe that was my picture.
No.
You could have taken it.
No, you were too busy entering graded stakes wins for jockeys or something that day.
No, I was passing out the gift cards to the winners.
Emerald Downs Weekly here on NBC Sports Northwest. Looking forward to Kentucky Derby Day on Saturday. And, hey, let's do our stat versus stat. Gary, you go first this week.
All right, Kentucky Derby is a theme this week. And as Joe's been saying all show, the last 6 Derby favorites have all won. Never in the history we've had 7 in a decade win. And we have one last chance here in 2019. Who's going to be the favorite? I don't know. But we had a streak, Joe, where we had 20 straight non-favorites between 1980 and 1999.
Yeah.
4 in the 2000s. In the 70s, back when we had the big horses running, 6 favorites won. So 6 in a row. Never have had 7 straight.
So only 2 odds-on horses there. One in the 90s and 80s, only one each decade, huh?
Exactly, and they both were very disappointing. So, as we were talking earlier, there's 20 horses in the race now, but we've had 6 straight, favorites. And back in the 70s, 80s, the field sizes averaged about 14 or 15.
I get to decide who wins this every week, you realize.
I've got a good chance because
Joe, you won.
It's a typo.
What is that? I don't even look at that.
Unbeknownst to me, I stole part of his thunder by talking about the 6 straight favorites already.
You gave the stat already. Gary, it's a mess.
And what's that last thing?
What is that?
1969?
Typo. It's supposed to be in the 1960s.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
The TV department can fix that. When we go live, it'll look good. That's a cool-looking board.
Well,
oh, my.
All right, so let's go to my stat, which
you're
not going to find at any other track, any other state. I've never seen this, but Gary was involved at Emerald Downs since '96. I'll give you a little credit. You got a lot of stats on our whole history. So do I. So does Vince. Okay, there is the leading brood mares producing different horses that have won at our track. Peaceful Wings on top with 14.
So wait a second. I may go back on this one because you provided this stat, right?
Yeah.
So Peaceful Wings, you deserve some grief
but
over.
I think I spelled her right, though, when I sent it in.
You're playing for the TV guys.
Peaceful Wings. Light Night has had 11, which is amazing. Winning View, 9. Julia Rose, of course, the Dam of Noosa Beach. Nusito, Music of My Soul. Mimi's Racine had a great run for Murdoch McPherson. Share the Night. Howard Belvoir's Dam. The Dam of Wasserman and 7 others. Timely Bet. Rick Pascoe's mare was tremendous. But, wow. Peaceful Wings, 14 winners at this track.
I already said Joe wins.
Joe wins?
Yes.
I can't.
So Joe wins.
I can't buy it
That's
off.
not going to be enough.
I got a bigger bill than that, Phil.
Right.
Okay, so stat versus stat, some good stuff though, and we did have another nice moment last weekend as well. Chinook Pass celebrated his 40th anniversary of his birth, which was April 28, 1979, and we did our mile video and mile story on the Great Chinook Pass. The name of Chinook Pass is included on the coveted Longacres Mile Trophy, and his incredible talent took Washington racing to further heights. Chinook Pass remains the only Washington-bred Eclipse Award winner. Races like this led him to title of Champion Sprinter of 1983.
Into the final furlong. Chinook Pass skimming the rail in front by 4. Haughty but Nice is second. Splashing through the stretch, it's Chinook Pass. Going easily.
Locally, he thrilled fans with a North American record performance that stands to this day.
Chinook Pass driving down toward the wire has an 8-length lead and running easily. Toward the wire, it is all Chinook Pass.
That was 55 1/5 for 5 furlongs at Longacres in 1982. In 1983, he returned home for his final career start, the Longacres Mile.
As down the stretch they come, Chinook Pass has that lead of 5 lengths. Traveling Victor is in second, Earth Black is third, Moon Lately, Foolish Owners. Here comes Native Chic on the outside. Chinook Pass has the lead of 5. He's Chinook Pass.
A record 6-length victory in his final career race. As a retired thoroughbred, his life was as rich as a horse's could be. That was due to his caretaker and trainer, Jill Hallen. Hallen shared her eager ambassador with groups all around the Northwest at ceremonies, dressage performances, and public appearances. There were the Torchlight Parade and Westlake Center events in Seattle, as a special guest at the Red Lion Inn, Overlake Cinema, and Shorecrest High School, and many events at Emerald Downs, including the 10-year anniversary party and leading post-parades. Chinook Pass lived 2 championship lives in his 31 years. Peaceful Wings, Debbie and Rick Papps, mare.
We just wanted
again,
to correct that, just to show that you did spell it correctly. So.
Renee Larrabee and the Papps had light night as well. So there's our broodmare table, and we just saw the Chinook Pass video, and again, he almost won the Derby as a 3-year-old, and
The Emerald Derby, our local Derby.
Yeah.
Not the Kentucky
Oh,
Derby.
wait a minute. What did I just say? He almost won the mile as a 3-year-old.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Not the Derby.
And we haven't had a mile-winning 3-year-old in this state since the 1950s. And, of course, he was a 6-length winner the next year, his final career race. Chinook Pass, always great to remember him and talk about him.
And, you should mention when folks come out to Emerald Downs, we have a great piece of Washington racing history right here in the building on track level. We have the Washington Thoroughbred Hall of Fame that Joe just spent some time updating with some new displays this year, so come check it out. There's a lot of all the winners are listed and some interactive. You can watch all the previous miles here from Emerald Downs on the TV, and it's a nice little way to spend 15 or 20 minutes looking over that stuff.
Yeah, we recognizing the last couple years Hall of Fame inductees at our center there on track level, as Phil mentioned. So there is that. So we have a card starting at 2 p.m. on Saturday at Emerald Downs, and looking forward to racing on Sunday as well, Cinco de Mayo. And we don't know quite what the weather's going to be, but it's pretty nice midweek. Phil, you usually look ahead at that,
It's
don't
supposed
you?
to be really, really nice. 70
All right.
degrees both days. Sunshine, especially on Sunday. Come on out. It's going to be beautiful.
Here come the school buses.
Yeah, with the 20 and 30-somethings. Love to see them out at the track. And, again, the big screen in the infield is a fantastic addition to Emerald Downs. You can see that from so many different angles, north and south of it. And watch the Kentucky Derby this Saturday, held in Churchill Downs, to be viewed at Emerald Downs. We'll be right back.
It's got to be the biggest screen in the region showing the race, 1,100 square feet. Biggest screen presentation of the Derby.
I'll be able
What's
to
the
see,
biggest
anywhere.
screen in the area?
see how much I'll win.
Does the baseball field have a bigger screen than us?
Maybe, but they're probably not showing the Derby.
No. Emerald Downs Weekly. Looking forward every week for you to join us. And join us at the track this weekend. First race, 2 p.m. each day. And so far, leading jockey Gary Wales, Kevin Orozco, 4 wins. Leading trainer Frank Lucarelli with 4 wins. And leading owner, as shown earlier, John Parker with 3 wins. Gary, you've got a whole page of stats there. You picked out one that couldn't get the stat of the week, but what else you got?
It's a Derby week, and it's a big race. People watch it on TV, listen on the radio. 150,000 show up in the infield, a lot get inebriated. But Phil, when do you think the last time we had a photo finish to determine the win of the Kentucky Derby?
It's been a long time. Well, Grindstone.
Well,
Grindstone and Cavanier had a photo in '96.
That was
First
close,
year we
right?
were open. That was a nose.
1999 was the last time we've had a photo, either a neck head or a nose decision. The past 19,
Charismatic.
no photo. That's right, Chris Antley.
Yeah.
And that's the longest streak in the history of the 144 runnings of the Kentucky Derby.
That should have been your stat of the week. You could have won.
You could
Like
have
that
won
one?
That
something.
mess
You could have
that
been
was up there on
somebody.
the screen.
You
You've
know,
been to the
and-
Derby. You're the only one here. I've never been to a Kentucky Derby because for years and years and
Really?
years, I've always had to work on Kentucky Derby Day. Whatever job I've had,
Yeah.
I've generally had to work. And same thing with you, Joe, right? Always.
Yep,
You're
working
here.
at the track. I got an offer a few years ago to represent a travel agency and lead a tour, and
Wow.
for some reason I turned it down. It was stupid, but I did.
And Gary,
Could I have went
how'd
this?
you get off work last
Could I
year to
have
go?
went last year? No, it wasn't last year.
When did you go?
I was working here last year. You wouldn't have let me go.
No, that's right.
This was in 1987. I was
Ali Sheba.
doing an A work at the University of Washington. Finished up my junior year of college and had a friend who got hooked in horse racing, and he said, let's go to the Derby. And we went back, and I tell you, we went to a party the night before and started drinking early times. And it took a few hours on Derby morning to get sobered up.
Have
There's
you
no-
ever had? I got to ask because mint juleps are the drink of the Derby.
Yeah,
Have you ever had one?
probably not that day, not Derby day.
Any day.
Yeah, I've had mint juleps. They're kind of sweet.
They're real sweet, I've been told.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have one this weekend.
But
No,
we're working again. If we're working,
I don't
you know
want
what
one.
I'll be doing on
I've had
Derby
it.
Day. If you want to see me, anybody coming to the track, come out to the park, and when you make your bets, I'll be working a mutual window out there.
That's
Mutual.
strong. Yeah.
Yes, I'll be doing that.
That's a tradition for you.
Every Derby Day, I go out there, and we need extra clerks to punch tickets.
Do
And
some people ask horses by this name, and you got to find it?
there are people that come and say, "I want that one I saw on the news last night." I was like, "I don't know who that is." but
Wow.
people, I want the gray horse, or I mean.
Do you
They
ever
see
start
things-
making bets yourself and have a little sticker stash of tickets?
No, I don't want to do that while I'm working. But
He's the boss, man.
we
You
are selling
gotta
mint
set an
juleps
example.
here,
That's a good point.
$10.
Okay.
But if
10.
you want the glass, the commemorative glass, then it's 15. You get to keep the glass.
Yep.
Those glasses are collector's items every year. So, but a lot of people say the Kentucky Derby is on their bucket list of sporting events to go to. I've never been there. I want to. What else? What's the one event you haven't been to? For me, it's the Derby. I've never been to the Derby. I'd love to go just one time.
I'll take that. I have never been to a World Series game, and I don't watch baseball all season long, but I love the playoffs and World Series still, and know my baseball history. So I wouldn't mind going to a World Series game some year. I've been to the Super Bowl once.
Well,
I've been to the
obviously,
NCAA championships.
Really?
obviously living in Seattle, that hasn't been an option.
That's right. So
No.
World Series,
Yeah.
yeah, I think for me.
Gary?
I'd like to go overseas to Royal Ascot and see their festivities for their one big week in June.
Gary in a top hat.
Top Hat, that's right. But that would, the tradition there goes back, to the 1700s. That would be something I would like to do here in the near future, is go to June. But I got to figure out, maybe we won't be, our race schedule versus when they run in Europe. See if I can work that out, right, Phil?
Well, a lot of people think that we get to go to all these big races and events, but the truth is when you work at a racetrack, you never get to go to other racetracks when they're having their big days, because obviously Kentucky Derby is a big day here. So somebody like Joe that's on the air every Derby day, obviously getting to the Derby is not something easily done. Maybe one day.
I haven't picked the winner in a few years. What do
No.
you guys think of Roadster? Bob
Got a
Baffert.
shot.
2 for 2 this year.
If
Yeah.
you
Okay.
make a bunch of money in the Derby, you can stay afterwards. 5th floor.
There you go.
Herding Cats. 8 p.m. showtime.
I like that band.
That band is fantastic. A lot of Beatles music. So that'll start at 8 o'clock Saturday night. Come on up after the Derby for a little post-Derby party.
Okay.
Big weekend.
Hope to see you at Emerald Downs, 2 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday for live racing. Derby Day gates open a lot earlier. Thanks for watching Emerald Downs Weekly.
Tacticus.
Down
On
the
top.
stretch they come.
Tacitus.
Tacticus.
Tacticus. How many mispronunciations did he have today on the show?
Epiglottis.
Tacticus.
Epiglottis.
No, there's been several
Tacticus.
mumbles, stumbles.
Stumbles.